My name is Justin Staub and I'm your DECA GOAT. Today we're going to take a look at how to prepare for ICDC and do the best that you can with the most amount of time in between your state or provincial conference and your national international conference. So today we're going to take a look at three specific things: what to expect with ICDC in this very virtual and very interesting year, how to take your SCDC, your provincial or state results, and plan forward, and then really outlining and making that specific plan to get you to that DECA glass, get you on the DECA stage at ICDC. So let's begin. What to expect at ICDC broken down very simply. Week 1 is where the written event contestants will upload their written events and everyone else will take their cluster exams. And we'll take a look specifically at what those dates will look like. In week 2 is when the written event contestants will have their presentations. And in the role play events, the individual and team series events, you'll have your role plays. In week 3, we'll have the finalist week, and we'll talk about that a little bit on the next couple of slides. Week 1, please pay attention to the dates here. Week 1, you can see when those specific events happen. You have one day between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Time to complete your events or complete your components listed on the specific days. So you have them by cluster, career cluster, and the written events are on Monday. So that's in week 1. Again, week 1 is for uploading written events and your cluster exams. Week 2 is when you'll complete your role plays or your written exam or your written event presentations. Again, look at your specific days. Individual series event contestants and principal event contestants, you will have 2 role plays to complete at ICDC. Team decision-making contestants, you will have 1 role play to complete at ICDC in this preliminary round. Also pay attention, we've got our opening ceremonies on Monday, April 19th at 8 p.m. And of course, then the written event contestants have their upload presentations on Thursday and Friday. Remember, you only have your one specific day to do those components. DECA said that they will release more information upcoming about how we're going to do exactly all of these things, but it should be fairly easy if your state has already been running virtually anyway. In the 3rd week is when we get to our finalist round. So there is no, in my state we call them mini awards, there are no achievement awards, I believe they're called the ICDC this year. So when we have in week 2, you have your individual role plays. The principal's role plays go on Monday. Somewhere around Tuesday or Wednesday, they're going to start releasing the finalists for the principal events that happened on Monday. They will release them throughout the week on a rolling basis. So the earliest week, or the earliest in the week your role play is, the more soon you'll know if you're a finalist for the final round. How finalist rounds usually work is at ICDC, you will be placed into a heat or a group for your preliminaries, and they will take then the top 2, I believe, contestants or top 2 teams from each of those preliminary rounds and have all of those people then go before the judge in the final round. My students asked me today, what does that look like for the final round? Probably about 20 or so contestants in that final round that you'll be competing against, individuals or teams. In the 3rd week then is when you have your final round presentations. The preliminary presentations and role plays will be recorded and uploaded, and you'll share your link with a judge. You will never meet your judge in person. In week 3, though, you will. So if you are a finalist in week 3, you will be meeting your judge via some sort of streaming service like Zoom or Microsoft Teams. And important, you're going to need a proctor on your end. Again, DECA will release more details about this, but if you make a finalist round, it's going to look a little bit different. But again, you have your specific days in which you're going to be doing those things. So now that we've gone over what ICDC will look like, let's think about how you finished, how you did this awesome job at states or provincials, and what you can do next. There is no magic formula for how well you need to do ICDC. First off, they don't release all of the results to everybody. You'll get a report of where you placed in percentiles, but let's break it down and keep it mostly simplistic. You will want to look at your exam and your role play scores if you did your role play events, or you want to look at your written event score and your presentation if you did written events, and figure out where you're the weakest. If you're competing at ICDC, you will want a test score in or above a 90. You will be competing against the best competitors in the world. You will want your test score to be as high as possible, and if you're not hitting a 90 now, you really have to work on that. For your role plays, it's a little bit trickier because role plays are subjective. You will want to consistently be pulling an 85 on your role plays. For written events, I have a couple of tips, but we'll get to some more specifics when we get to our planning. For role plays, you want to make sure that you don't have any penalty points on your role plays, on your written events. And you also want to make a plan to prepare for your presentation and make it the best, most professional you can. And we'll talk about that again as we move forward. So how do we make a plan to plan for that success? You have somewhere between 5 and 6 weeks to plan. you need to focus on the weakest area that you've got and plan forward. You can take my cluster exam videos, which I'll link up top, or the role play videos, which I'll link up top, and really think through how you can make that particular piece of your competition even better. If you're really trying to hone in, though, let's take a look at resources like an exam blueprint that ICD or that DECA posts every year, and you can see the different questions for different stages. We'll look at if you have competition university, you really want to dig in and figure out the weakest areas you have and build towards that. Or you can use some free resources like Quizlet and really get good at it. For written event advice, we'll take a look at the former DECA president from 2018 and 2019, Andrew Weatherman. His advice on how to perfect a written event, it is stellar. He did such a great job recording through all of that. These exam blueprints are published every year, and these are for 2020, 2021. And you can then find your career cluster in which your cluster exam is based. If you're in the finance career cluster, just to pick this one off the top, 28 of your questions will be based on the financial analysis component. So, if you're really looking to get good at your ICDC preparation, you will focus on the things that have the most weight on your ICDC exam. What you see listed down the left-hand side here are your instructional areas. There's a high likelihood then you will also get role plays on the instructional areas that will get asked the most often. There's no guarantee, but if you focus your preparation around those instructional area events, you will be very well prepared for both the exam and possibly then for also the role plays. So what if I know that for the marketing, I want to look at some of these high-end question sets that I might get. If you don't have access to a study resource like Competition University, you can just go to Quizlet and type in up here in the top, DECA, and then whatever that instructional area is. That will be helpful. It will point out some things to you that you might not otherwise have known. Again, these things will both help with your performance indicators for your role plays and also with your exam preparations. For your written event competitors, Andrew Weatherman, the former high school division president from 2018 and 2019, has put together a stellar resource for how to perfect that written event and how to perfect that presentation. Link down below and read through it all. Two things that I'd point out. First, you want to look at your SCDC or your provincial results and figure out where you were the weakest in any one of your rubric areas. I would probably not touch the areas where you scored perfect. Look to improve the areas where you're weakest. Also, read through and really make sure your grammar and your tone of your essay is perfect. You want to make sure that those things are spotless so you don't lose points or distract your judge from those things. Secondly, and he goes into some really stellar advice for how to present. If this were a regular in-person ICDC, you would see event contestants with gigantic display boards. He liked presenting with PowerPoint. So he gives you some great tips for PowerPoint, which is really stellar for a virtual year like we're in. So now that you've got some of these tips, now you just need to make a plan. Your plan for how to do this should be broken down by week. And I'm sure you all know what these things are, but you also want to have SMART goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. So your weekly plan would include things like what you want to accomplish and how you'll know if you succeeded, when specifically you will get your work done, how you're going to balance it around work, or sports, or other things in your schedule, and if you're going to need to ask people for help. I've put together a DECA ICDC success plan, and I've tried to break down by week what I would do. I will link this down below. I'll link the Google Doc version so you can type all in it. This first week, what I would recommend, and I did these Sunday through Saturday weeks. This first week, I would just recommend evaluating your success. Many of you are finishing up your state exams or your state competitions or provincial competitions. I would just go through and evaluate your success and figure out and examine find your weakest point that you can really focus in on. Who you're going to need, chapter advisor, association advisor, anyone that can help you target what specifically you might be weak in. You're just going to have to put in the when. When are you going to do that work? How are you going to work it in around your school, your sports, or your personal work schedule? The rest of these weeks then are open to you. Week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, and week 6. Plan something out that makes sense. Focus on your weakest area, but don't ignore the other areas. You're going to have to improve everything to score really well at ICDC. I included 3 extra boxes down here at the bottom so you can type in specifically when you're taking your cluster exams or uploading your written paper, when you're doing your role plays or your presentation uploads, or, I should say and when you're going to compete in that finalist round. Type all those dates in. We've got Grand Awards on Thursday, May 6th at 8 p.m., and I hope this resource helps you backmap and plan out how you're going to do so well at ICDC. So there you have a path and a plan to get from states or provincials all the way through to ICDC. I wish you the best of luck. I can't wait to see your names called for that virtual stage at the Grand Awards ceremony on May 6th. My name is Justin Staub, your DECA GOAT, and good luck on your DECA success journey.